You're
Mm.
heading over to near Dallas this weekend.
Hmm.
I'm sure you would have seen the numbers with regards to the purses that the Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor are making for this fight. Um,
Hmm.
Even in your time as a pro, do those numbers like that was unthinkable even when you turned pro, really? Just talk to me about how
Yeah,
significant that is for those two and for women's boxing more broadly.
of course, it's huge. People always ask me like, what's your big money fight? Where do you go and make the big money? And obviously for me, that's the Serrano fight, which is a big part of showing up in Dallas this weekend as well. Keep trying to build that fight, keep trying to push for that fight, and hopefully getting that fight over the line before Serrano kind of decides it's time and hangs up the gloves. So I know like we are getting tighter on time the longer it kind of takes to try and make that fight. But I feel like showing up at an event like this, um, a history making event, um, huge figures, never before seen figures for women's boxing. Um, Obviously, that's the goal for me. And I feel like it's within arm's reach for me to be in a fight with Serrano now. Um, I've defended the WBC belt twice now. We're definitely looking at potential unification fights with Nina Menka, who now holds the IBF. Um, and then the only other name in the division is Amanda Serrano. So I feel like there's kind of a lot weighing on this weekend. What's going to happen in the featherweight division, I think, kind of lies in the fate of Taylor-Serrano too this weekend. So I'll be there ringside watching with great interest, obviously. Someone actually asked me this week as well, like, could you ever, would you, or have you ever imagined that you could fight Katie Taylor? And it kind of like caught me off guard a little bit because obviously she's just been someone that I've idolized for so long and looked up to for so long. Like I've never even considered the thought of it. But obviously, if I'm looking at Amanda Serrano and she's fighting Katie Taylor, um, you kind of have to sort of look at that as well. Um, they are both coming to the end of their careers, so uh, the young, hungry, upcoming fighters, they want to get their shot. They want to have that legacy fight, and that's exactly how it is for me.
You've been doing a bit of work with DAZN. If you could put your analyst hat on for this fight, how do you see it playing out?
Mhm. Look, for me, I feel like I don't want to be biased because I am a big Katie Taylor fan. But I feel like if you look at what they've done from that first fight to now, their level of opposition, who they've fought. Katie's obviously had those two fights with Chantel Cameron. She faced her first defeat, came back brilliantly in the rematch, made great adjustments to her game plan, and executed it perfectly. And I feel like that for me was a big thing. I think when we saw the defeat against Cameron, I was a little bit more worried about her rematch with Serrano. But obviously, in that second fight with Chantel Cameron, it made me think actually no, she wrong. She righted her wrongs basically. Um, the level of opposition Serrano's been in with since the Katie Taylor fight, you can't really compare to the likes of Katie's opposition. Um, and her performances, in my opinion, have been quite subpar. She hasn't looked overly impressive against quite low level opposition. Um, I also think the weight plays a big part in this as well. Being up at super lightweight, uh, she was already going up to lightweight when she fought Katie last time, but to go up to super lightweight, I know there is a catch weight. I think it is about 2 pounds below the super lightweight limit, I've heard, which again, I think is really weird for an undisputed fight. I think if you're fighting for all the belts in that weight division, there shouldn't be a catch weight, but boxing, politics. Um, but for me, I see Katie winning clearer and more wide than the first time. I think she's going to make the adjustments necessary. I think she's the far superior skill wise fighter. And I think she's going to learn from the mistakes that she made in that first fight where she played into Serrano's game a few times and she really didn't need to. And I think we're going to see a much clearer win from Katie. Um, that's with my analyst hat on.
Win or lose, Serrano would still be the name in your division, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
What do you think you'd need to do to get that, or is it just kind of out of your hands?
I think maybe look really bad in a fight. I don't know. Maybe like plant my feet and like stand and trade with someone where she thinks, oh, she might do that against me, which I won't, but I don't know. I don't know how, like, I don't know what more I can do. I'm beating whoever's put in front of me. I'm the biggest name in the featherweight division, like, apart from her. Um, I'm ranked number one on BoxRec. I'm like, I don't know how else I can get that fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying. I think, I think a year or so ago when she was saying, oh, she's too young, she's too inexperienced, she's this, she's that. I don't think they can keep using that excuse now. Because she's fighting girls that have less experience than me, um, and haven't done the things I've done. So it's frustrating, but all I can do is keep showing up, keep pushing, keep calling out the fight and trying to build it. I feel like the boxing world on social media are really pushing for the fight all the time. I think I was almost laughed at a year or so ago about wanting to fight her, and I feel like that public opinion has really changed from then to now. And I think a lot of people actually do see that I would be a great opponent for her and a hard fight for her. So yeah, while it's frustrating, I can only focus on me and my goals, which are obviously to win the belt. So while she's holding on to the belts, I'm going to be calling her name. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend, and if we can try and get something maybe in the pipeline, depending on obviously the result of Friday night.
If the contract for 12 3-minute rounds came through, are you happy to sign that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me, um, I am the WBC world champion and I respect the rules of the WBC. And I understand why they have those rules in place. But for me, obviously, when we talk about legacy, if that's the only way to get the fight with her, then of course, like I wouldn't even think twice about it. I'm a very patient fighter. Uh, you've seen my fights. I'm standing in between the rounds for the 10 2-minute rounds. I do it with ease. I could do 20 rounds. I could do 3-minute rounds. I could do 4-minute rounds. Like, so for me, that's not an issue. Obviously, that's the politics side of boxing. But if there was a chance that we could make that fight happen and agreeing to that would make that fight happen, then it's not even a question. It's not even something for me to think about. It's a definite yes. But I feel like the 12 threes thing is just another kind of distraction method that was used to avoid fighting me when I became her mandatory 12 months ago.
And in the main event this weekend, obviously Jake Paul's fighting Mike Tyson.
Mhm.
You were probably too young to remember Mike Tyson's kind of prime, but you grew up in a boxing family.
Yeah.
What were your kind of memories, or what did you think of Mike Tyson, and what did you think when you heard he was coming back?
Yeah, of course. Well, he's a legend of the sport. So growing up in a boxing family, but also growing up a boxer, um, it's crazy to even kind of like visualize that I'm going to be watching Mike Tyson fight this weekend. Like that's just mad to me. It blows my mind. I kind of hate the circumstances, I'll be honest. I don't think he should be fighting at this age. Um, well, they're wearing bigger gloves. It's 2-minute rounds. There's all these things. So I feel like they can't really even call it a fight. It's like, I don't know. The whole thing's a bit weird. Um, but I just hope, obviously, they both come out safe at the end of it all. And it's a great event for boxing, and hopefully, like, obviously being on Netflix and all of that other stuff as well, like it can only be good for boxing. We're going to be reaching a huge audience, bigger than probably any live boxing event has ever reached before. So While it's not, I guess, the greatest of main events, I love what the event is doing for boxing and will do for boxing this weekend.
One of those fighters who's going to get more eyes on them is another Queenslander in Dana Coolwell. Can you just talk about him opening the card and how
Yeah.
significant an opportunity that is?
No, it's amazing. I actually like I hadn't even heard Dana was on the card until like super recently, and I saw the poster of the undercard and I was like, oh my God. Because I've known him since he was probably 10 years old, and watched his whole amateur journey as well. Me being just like a couple of years older than him, kind of watching him go through the juniors and youths in the national system. So no, I'm really excited and really happy for him. And again, such a massive opportunity for an Australian fighter to be on the biggest platform that any boxing event's ever been on. So no, really excited for that as well, and excited to be there live to cheer him on.
In a similar vein, someone you would have known for a long time, Liam Paro, I saw you caught up with in Philly
Yeah.
the other week.
hmm
Did he give you any impression to how he's feeling ahead of his first title defense against Richardson Hitchens?
He's feeling really, really good. He's feeling really confident. He said he's had a great camp. We were talking about how this is his kind of his fight that really stamped him on the world. Like the world's going to be talking about him after he wins this fight. Um, we're both really, really eager for a big homecoming. We want to do a big double header. Maybe in Queensland, obviously both being Queenslanders as well. So we had a little chat about that. But yeah, no, he's very quietly confident, and I love that about Liam. I feel like he knows himself so well, and he knows what he's capable of. He doesn't need to tell anyone about it. He doesn't need to talk about it. He's just got this like aura about him. Um, so I'm very excited for him. Like I love seeing good people do well as well, and I think he is really like one of the gentlemen of the sport. And yeah, he's a good guy, and he's very, very talented, and he deserves a lot more. What's the word? Not credit, but like recognition. Yeah, he deserves a lot more recognition than he gets, and I think coming over to Puerto Rico, um, to defend his world title, that really should have been deserving of a homecoming. It just shows the champion that he is, and I feel like it's just gonna yeah keep building his legacy as well, and it'll be talked about for a long time after he's done.
You mentioned that you guys were hoping to line up a fight in March. I saw a month or so ago you were on socials asking fans whether you should go for one more in 2024 or
Yeah.
come back. What kind of pushed it one way or the other? Um,
So for me, I was kind of being told in the lead up to my fight in Saudi that I would box in Australia in December. And I was really, really happy and excited for that. That was going to be the perfect end to the perfect year for me to have had four world title fights in 2024, and to finish it, um, the fourth one to be the homecoming back home in December. I just like I was really, really excited for that. But obviously Paro's fight ended up being put on the Puerto Rico show. There were talks about doing stuff with George Kambosos. Um, and yeah, it all kind of didn't come into fruition, unfortunately. So for me, um, I wanted to fight again in December, but there just wasn't the option. The the Matchroom schedule is very busy now, up right till Christmas. So yeah, it kind of got put on the back burner, but hopefully if we get out in like March time, um, hopefully Paro will be ready by then as well, and we could do a really cool big double header homecoming, which I think would be, yeah, amazing. So hopefully we can make that happen. And our teams are both really pushing for that to happen. So fingers crossed.
and I guess what are you hearing from Matchroom's end on that front? Are they keen to push ahead and
They
any
really, really want to.
locations in mind?
Yeah, so Liam Paro and I both were talking with Eddie about this just over the past weekend. He's really keen to get us out in Australia. He's got some really big plans in the pipeline for 2025 in Australia with me, Paro, Jayapataya, Justice Huni, Connor Wallace. So yeah, he's got some big plans there and he's desperate to make it happen. He is having meetings with Queensland government, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Townsville, and then also um, looking at other options countrywide as well, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth. So they're all kind of in the conversations at the moment. So wherever it's going to be the best fit business wise, to make it work so that Liam and I can get that homecoming. That's definitely a priority for Matchroom going into 2025.
And just a couple more from me. Personally, how do you look back on 2024?
I mean, I had three world title fights. I became world champion in April, successfully defended it in July and again in October. Obviously, October was special, making history on the Riyadh season card, being the first female women's world title fight to take place in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, the first women's fight on a Riyadh season card. So, yeah, I mean, all three fights had a lot of special moments for me. I feel like I had a great year. I fought three great opponents, um, and won all of them comfortably. I don't think you could probably count on one hand how many rounds I might have lost on individual judges' scorecards across those three fights. So, yeah, I had a great year. I feel like I'm constantly improving. I'm very, very happy with my team. I feel like I have such a great team around me, my coaching team. I have a lot of trust in them, and we're making big adjustments and improvements in the gym all the time. And I feel like for every big chunk of improvement we make, you see about this much of it in the fight, but bit by bit, it's all coming together. And as long as I'm getting better every fight, I'm happy, and I feel like I am at the moment. I feel like I'm constantly getting better, and I've got so much more to show and so much more to give, and just need to pick the right dance partners, and get those big fights over the line. Hopefully, 2025 will see that.
That was my next question. What does 2025 hopefully look like?
So I think my next fight should be Tiara Brown as mandatory challenger. Um, she's 17-0, 12 KOs, I think. She was an amateur world champion, a very good, skillful fighter, heavy-handed, and I'm excited for that because I feel like that's going to be a real fight. I've said that a couple of times now, but I do believe that will be a real fight. I think she has a lot of confidence. She's been calling me out. She's had my name in her mouth for well over a year now. So I feel like that's a fight that I would like to have. I think she, for some reason, thinks that I'm worried about her or nervous about her, which absolutely not. So that's definitely a fight that I'm hoping is next. So she's talked a big game. So let's see if she can bring the heat, like she promises. So that will probably be my next fight, I assume. And then obviously we want to start collecting the belts. So 2025 is belt collecting season. Obviously the best way to go right now with that would be the Nina Menka fight. She's got the IBF belt. So naturally I think we would go that way unless something dramatic happens and we can get the Serrano fight, or something opens up for me to fight for one of the belts that Serrano holds. But for right now, I'm seeing Tiara Brown in March on the Gold Coast, and then Nina Menka for the unified world title, wherever in the world. I don't care. Sign me up. I'm ready for my next belt. Maybe around May, June time. And then, yeah, the back end of next year. I mean, for me, the dream would be for it to be against Serrano for undisputed, but um, the ball's in her court on that one, unfortunately. So we'll see.